Okay, so we're gonna do a quick video. Well, not quick probably, but um the stuff that was online from Fernando, I pulled down because they used to build these stairs in kind of an empty template. And then at the end, everybody would rush to build walls and try and create a surround. So what we have here is a template that's the actual TDS building. So if you come out to the generic 3D view, you'll see that it's the entire building that's used for systems. I think you'll mostly take that when you're a junior. So it causes a few issues early on, just making sure you can see what you're trying to, because if I go to, say, the east elevation, it's kind of messy. But there's some workarounds, and at the end, it'll save you way more time than it will cost you at the beginning. So, close this. First thing we want to do is make sure we're on the level 1 stairs crop. And then I'm going to insert an image. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it because I already have the file folder open. I'm just going to drop it in. So this is my first floor that I pulled down off of canvas. First thing I'm going to do is scale it. And I'm going to use this 8-foot 10 7/8 inch as my marker. Just like before, I'm going to zoom all the way in, create a model line from this midpoint, making sure I am horizontal, coming over, zooming in until I get as close as I can to this midpoint. All right, so that's telling me right now that it's a little bit too big, not too bad. So now I'm going to start in the exact same place, and I'm going to type in the correct dimension. So I'm staying right on top. I'm going 8-foot 10 7/8 inches. All right, so I've got my three. I've got my starting point, my wrong dimension, and my correct dimension. Scale this. Starting at the origin, going to what's incorrect, and coming back to what's correct. All right, so now I can just delete those. I don't need them anymore. And what we're trying to do now is move this image as close to these as we can. It's not going to be perfect, but we're going to adjust the walls later to make it better. And this bit can be a little confusing. So I'm zooming in as far as I can and using my keyboard rather than my mouse. So that's close enough. Later, after we made these stairs, we're going to use the align tool to bring these walls right up, touching the stairs. All right, so now we've got our drawing scaled. We've got it positioned. I'm going to hide these walls for now because they're just going to be problematic. Now we need to create a grid. Uh, this grid, we don't need to copy completely because this is part of a bigger project that's been cropped. Mostly what we're using it for is to place the center of this column. And then we're going to use this other reference column to scale the second image we import. So again, I'm going to go to architecture, grid. I'm going to zoom in, get to the middle of this. And pull straight down. Try and pull the top of this up past. All right, so we've got that one. Now we need one coming across. Again, I'm going to zoom in, try and get the middle as best I can. Architecture, grid. And this is one case where I'm not really concerned as to having horizontal and vertical alphanumeric. I'm just going to leave these all with whatever Revit assigns it. Now this time I'm going to bring it all the way out because we're going to use this, like I said, to help with the second image we're importing. So now this one we're going to copy down to the center of that grid. So copy, move it down roughly. Then I'm going to zoom in and get it as close as I can. It's close, but I could get it a little better. All right. So now I've got my grid for later. We can start drawing our stairs. We're going to start with all the solid cement ones. We're going to go to architecture, component, model in place. We're going to start with this lowest one that comes all the way around. And we've got some dimensions and that makes it useful. We're going to make an extrusion. Start here. I'm just going to pick the closest I can. I'm going to type in 6'10" and 1/4. All right, now I've got my end. And the next one is 22, 10 and 3/8. So I want to make sure that I'm seeing this perpendicular. And then I'm going to type in 22 feet, 10 and 3/8 inches. All right. Now I'm going to come from here. We don't know this dimension, but we know that it needs to be perpendicular to that end. I'm going to end it there. And this one should say horizontal. We're going to end it a little early. We want this to be parallel to these two. Sometimes if you start drawing, you'll get it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to click copy. I'm just going to move it over. Move it right into the middle. And now I can use trim to finish things off. But I still need this bottom line. It's not any specific orientation. You just want to do your best to follow whatever line it's on. And now I can trim here to here. Okay, from there to there. And now this one extends too far because we copied it. So I'm going to trim that to that. Now we have a closed shape. That's the lowest stair. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to come in. I'm going to change the material right now. And this is concrete cast in place. Concrete cast in place. Click OK. And before I finish this, I'm going to come up to edit work plane. Now we're not moving this particular one, but I want you to start this habit. Because once we get to the other ones where we're copying them over and over, they will disappear randomly as you copy them. So if you come to edit work plane and you click disassociate, now it won't do that. So we click finish model. And we need to raise it 7 inches because that's the rise. Again, if I come over to my east elevation, could be done. It's a little messy, but I could grab it and come down. All right. And now we're going to do the same thing, but for the next one. So what we know about the next one is most of the lines are going to be pick line, except for right up here. We've got 11 inches coming in from here and 11 inches from here. So I'm going to go architecture, component, in place. Stairs again. And the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to, I'm going to set the plane because we're going to do it starting at level 7 inches because that's where the other one stops. And then I'm going to create an 11-inch reference off of here that's perpendicular. I'll actually just do it down here because that'll become our step. So again, making sure it's perpendicular, 11 inches. I'm going to turn off chain for now. Now this one I'm going to do in the middle and we'll delete it later. 11 inches. All right, now I could switch to pick line. I know I want this line, here, here, here. And I know I need a perpendicular line coming from here that starts at this 11 inch. So I'm going to come from this endpoint. Just going to stop it because we're going to use the trim tool. I'm going to come from here and go perpendicular. And again, we're going to use the trim tool. So I'll just stop it. So we're going to trim this long one here. Now I'm going to trim this, and now we just have to delete this. Okay. Material. Let's go ahead and make that concrete cast in place. Let's click OK. And now again, just this one we're not copying, but we're going to edit the work plan and disassociate. Now I can finish the model and go back to my east elevation. Where to go? Drag that to level 14. All right, so the next one, let's see if this will work. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. The next one, we're going to create this entire thing as a single unit, and then we're going to use a void extrusion to make these treads. That's going to be easiest if we have a section view that's parallel to what we're going with. I'm going to go to view, section. I'm just going to draw and hope. No, it is not giving me the parallel function. So there's a workaround. I could just go to architecture, wall. Let's say pick a line. Pick this line. Now that's enough of a wall that the section cut should offer me that parallel option. This will be important for when we're creating the void extrusion. If it's not parallel, your steps will end up wonky. I can just highlight that wall and delete it. It's done its job. Architecture, component, model in place, stairs. Now our only pick lines that are an option are here, here, and here. We're going to draw the rest. So in order to make sure this one stays parallel, the easiest thing to do is to just create a perpendicular up to the edge. And now, as long as I stay perpendicular, that means it'll be parallel to the first stairs we made and the section cut. All right, so I've got this. I'm going to come off of here going parallel, or perpendicular, sorry. And I'm going to stop it early because I don't really need it to go all the way. Same thing here. I'm just going to pick a small section of it. And I'm going to start using the trim tool. So I'm going to take this bit and here, and now I'm going to make sure that extended bit goes away. I'll bring this over. And now I have to cut off this little end. So I'm going to click this first and then that. I did not set my work plane. I should have to 14 inches, but that's not a big deal. So I'm going to click OK. I'm going to go to the east view. And bring the top to this level. I think it's 35 inches. And then I'm going to bring the bottom up to 14 inches. Again, I can come in here, edit work plane, disassociate. So now in our 3D view, you can see we've got these stairs, except for we have a giant jump right here. I'm gonna hide this floor for now. So we'll probably go in later and change the size of this texture. But what I can do now is I can go into that section we made. And I have a nice parallel view to this geometry. I can highlight it, edit in place, create void extrusion. And now we're going to do pick a plane. Make sure it's the face. So we're going to start at this edge. Again, the rise is 7. So we're going to come up 7 inches. The run is 11 inches, and we can switch to chain so that we don't have to keep clicking. Seven inches. Got to make sure your mouse doesn't wander on you and that you're vertical or horizontal, depending on which dimension you're going with. All right, so this last one, we just need to be above the treads. So we have an enclosed void that gives us the treads we need. I'm going to click OK. And then we're going to come back to the stair one crop. We're just going to drag it past. It's not going to affect anything except for what we asked it to edit. I click Finish Model. And now we have our treads. So that's it for the lower treads. Now we need to think about the steel supported precast stuff. So I'm going to come back to level 1. I'm going to drag in my floor 2 image. And I'm going to zoom in to get the center of this on this top grid, and then I'm going to scale it so that this bottom one is on grid F. All right. So again, the closer you're zoomed in, the smaller the increments will be of movement. That's pretty good. So to make my life easier, I'm going to draw a model line through the middle of this one. Then zoom in, get as close as I can, and just come horizontally through the whole thing. Click on your image, scale, start with this grid, come down to the model line, and now up to this grid. Now our images match. What we need to do now is get this on level 2. So I'm going to highlight the image. I'm going to do Control X, which cuts it. And then I'm going to do Control V, which pastes it in. Now you can see right now, it's just popping it in right there. I'm going to try and get it closer to where it belongs. You can't see it right now because we're still in hidden line. Go to wireframe. Now I can zoom in again. First, I'm going to make sure the image is highlighted. And then I'm going to adjust it in the middle. So I'm in the middle there. Now I need this vertical one. Pretty far off right now, so I'm not going to zoom in until we get a little closer. All right. So now the same column that's on the first floor and the second one, it's a little not perfect on that one. But that's fine. It gives us an idea of where this opening is and the location of our stairs. So what we want to do from here is we're going to create a reference plane for the stairs along the edge. We're going to create a section cut that's parallel to that reference plane. And we're going to create a grid along here. And that's how we're going to start building our treads and all our supports. I'm going to pause this video and start a new one from here.